Hello again. Are you ready for another ramble? I see you've got your boots on, so let's go. Today we're going to go back in time to an event that was a huge turning point in my life, and most probably was for you too. The day you find out the truth. The day your childhood innocence dissolved under your feet, when you discovered that there was no workshop in Lapland where elves merrily toiled away, making a toy just for me. The toy I had told them that I wanted in a carefully written letter that I'd posted up the chimney. There was no sleigh that could fly over houses and around the whole world in one night, pulled by reindeers who all had names, and one that had a bright red nose. And worst of all, there was no big jolly man who always dressed in red and white and had the capacity to drop down our chimney with a sack full of presents and get back up again. The sheer disappointment of taking all that in and coming to terms with the fact that everyone, not just parents, but grandparents, aunts, uncles and older siblings, had lied to me. It took some thinking about. I think I had begun to question whether fairies were real, as I'd never seen or heard one, not even at the bottom of the garden where they supposedly lived. Similarly, I've never heard a troll when crossing a bridge, when they're supposed to live. But I had seen and heard Father Christmas. I had spoken to him. I'd been taken on a special trip to a special place where I'd climbed up on his lap and whispered in his ear that I wanted a doll and a musical box. I had felt his physicality. How could I have done that if he didn't exist? I couldn't take it in. He didn't even exist. My world was cracking apart. After all the preparations we'd been making for his arrival, the time I'd given to making a wish list, the care I'd given to writing the letter, I think we even had the chimney swept. And why had I been so careful? To be a good girl for weeks on end, knowing he was watching me? As I gave that some thought, I looked back and thought of all the times I'd stopped myself doing something just in case he spotted me. Well, I could have pinched that extra bit of cake after all, as there was no risk that I wouldn't get that doll I so wanted on Christmas morning. It was a shattering revelation. It might not have been quite so shattering if I'd found out in the normal way that children do. Had I been a little bit older, I would most likely have heard whispers from my friends that would lead me to give consideration to some of the more outrageous parts of this construct. I would probably have been questioning how a man as round as Father Christmas could possibly slide himself down our chimney without getting stuck, and us having to call the fire brigade out to dislodge him. I would most probably have been thinking about how it was possible for huge animals like reindeers to just up and fly, and at a speed that would have broken the sound barrier. I wasn't sure back then how big the world was, so that part might have taken me a while to start doubting, because maybe it was possible to go around the whole world in one night. But when the truth burst through my consciousness, it did so suddenly, without warning, noisily, with no time to prepare for such a huge upending in understanding. 1 minute I was fully, totally, completely immersed in the world of wonderment and innocence of an 8-year-old. The next minute I'd crossed a line and become entangled in an adult conspiracy. And here's the distressing story of how it happened. It's Christmas Eve, the most exciting day of the year. My younger siblings and I had put out a glass of wine and a mince pie for Father Christmas, and then gone to bed early to be sure to be asleep when he came. My younger sister and I shared a bedroom, and the bedroom door was slightly ajar, as it always was. My bed head was positioned so that I could briefly see anyone passing. I think I'd been asleep, but was woken up by a noise. I was sure I'd heard footsteps, not loud ones, creeping ones. I ducked under the sheet, but kept one eye open so I could catch a glimpse of who it was. And it was him! It was Father Christmas! As sure as I was an 8-year-old girl, the person I saw was him. Father Christmas went past my door, clear as day. I saw the red cloak, the white beard, and he went by more than once, carrying his sack over his shoulder. I heard him go in my older sister's room. I heard him go into my younger brother's room, both of which were further along the landing than my room. I knew he must be coming into our room next, at any moment. I could hardly breathe, I was so excited, and yet dreading it at the same time. What if he saw I was awake? I knew enough about him to know that if you weren't asleep when he came into the house, that he didn't leave any presents for you. So he wouldn't leave my sacks at the bottom of my bed as he always did. Then suddenly there was a very loud bang, 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 bang. Something or someone was falling down the stairs. Oh my God, I hope Father Christmas hasn't fallen down our stairs. Then I heard something else, something very familiar. I heard a man's voice say, "Gordon and Bennett." That was my dad's voice and his usual go-to swear words. I couldn't put two and two together for a while, but then, when I realised that no one had come running to check to see if Santa was okay, it slowly seeped into my brain. Santa was my dad. It was Dad who drank the wine and ate the mince pie so carefully laid out before going to bed. This discovery took some absorbing. I pulled the sheets fully over my head and got to thinking about it as I heard him come into our room and place the pillowcase at the bottom of mine and my sister's bed. I thought about it when I sat up in the semi-darkness and rummaged through the said pillowcase to feel its contents and check that there were sufficient presents, and in the bottom there lay the expected orange and sugar mouse. I thought about it when my sister woke up and excitedly grabbed her pillowcase to explore its contents. Should I tell her? She was still living in the land of innocence. I envied her that. No, I couldn't spoil it for her too. Having made that decision, I was now fully a part of maintaining this adult conspiracy. It was difficult not being able to talk about it in front of her and my younger brothers or any other child. Well, of course, you never asked anyone if they still believed, just in case they did. And then you'd unlocked a door that they weren't ready really to be looking through. Later on, I found out that every year he dressed up as Santa for his London office Christmas party, where lots of children would go. So he really was Father Christmas. He had the full costume at home, including the white beard, and would put it on, the full thing, for delivering our presents around the house. The banging was some logs he dropped as he was bringing them up for the Christmas morning fire in their bedroom, where we would all gather with our sacks to see what goodies we'd got for Christmas. I still love Christmas. I love all the preparations. I love the secrecy and have enjoyed making it as magical as possible for my children and grandchildren. But how I wish I could experience again that period in life where anything could be true. It didn't matter how ridiculous or far-fetched it might be. It was beyond question, totally, completely believable. This isn't the end of the story. I went to a convent school, and a short while later, my dad got called in one night to be reprimanded by the nun who taught me. I'd written a story, and it featured him saying Gordon and Bennett in place of a swear word. She told him it was swearing, as it was a derivation of gorblimey, which was a derivation of may God blind me. I recall him telling my mum and laughing, saying it over and over, and the two of them giggling, and him ending it by saying, "Stupid woman." I was shocked. He called a nun a stupid woman. P.S. I did get a musical box and a doll, a beautiful, tall, walking, talking doll. You held her hands and her legs moved forward. She had a very stiff gait, but she walked. I hope you've liked this little Christmas cracker. If you have, then please do like and subscribe. And there's no money involved. You're not parting with any cash. You're just saying you like my content and you'd like to see more of it. So, until the next time, happy rambling.